And this is how we work the Afterthought thumb. Here we have our mitten that's already been worked. Follow the instructions. They usually tell you work X inches or X rounds until you get to where you want your thumb to be. And here's our repeating pattern. And because we don't want to interrupt the color work, that is why we add the Afterthought thumb. And we also have our length of waste yarn. I have just over 12 inches here in a contrasting color to make it easy to see when it comes time to pick up these stitches later. I prefer to use acrylic or cotton for my waste yarn because it's not as grippy and it's easier to pick out the stitches when you're done your mitten. You do not want to use a very toothy yarn, a yarn that grabs onto itself. You want something smooth and slick. So now for our sample pattern, we're going to work 3 stitches in the pattern, which in this case is we're going to work 3 stitches in the pink. 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to work 8 stitches in our waste yarn. So I'm going to secure one end down here with my finger, and we're going to work 8 stitches in our contrasting yarn. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because we're getting near the end, 7, and 8. And now those are our stitches in waste yarn added to our mitten, but we've interrupted the pattern you said, and this is how we fix that. We're going to slip the stitches back to the left hand needle, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And now we're going to continue working in the established pattern, which in this case is knit 3 pink, knit 3 white. So we have our 3 in pink. Now we will do our 3 in white. That first stitch, again, you want to make sure you don't pull that out. So that's 1, 2, 3. Again, you've got that little loop, so we're going to pull that in the back, snug that up a bit. And 1, 2, 3. And there you have it. We have added our waste yarn. And yeah, the stitches are not quite even. That's what blocking's for. So we've added our waist stitches, and we will now continue to knit following the pattern. And once our mitten is done, we will go back and pick up the stitches for the thumb, and that is the next step. Okay, so we have finished our mitten, and we are ready to pick up our stitches for the thumb. So, simple anatomy lesson. We're going to look at a stitch, and let's just look at this stitch right here. This is the left leg. That's the right leg. When you're knitting, usually this is the front leg and this is the back leg. So, right front, left back. We have our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stitches on waist yarn. And we are going to pick up the right legs of the 8 stitches below. This is why you want a nice contrast in color so you can see. So that first stitch comes through here. So we're going to pick up, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we have picked up our 8 stitches, right legs only, that were below our waist yarn. And now we are going to pick up from the row above the waist yarn. Again, right legs only, because these are the front stitches. So here's the V, here's the stitch right above. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 stitches on our top needle, 8 stitches on our bottom needle. And now for the fun part. We are going to take another needle, any size. You can even use a tapestry needle, crochet hook, anything you want to really. And we are going to pick out the stitches that were done on waist yarn. And now you can see why you don't want a grabby yarn. You want to be able to slip these between the stitches. And I like to pull them out one leg at a time. And we have 3 more left to go. And now we are at the end. And now you see this loop here. This is where we carried the yarn behind. Do not freak out, but also take your time to make sure that that loop stays in that spot. But we have our stitches are still on there, not going anywhere. And we are now going to knit into those stitches. So we have the color, pattern says to use. Again, each pattern's different. Just for our particular sample, it says to use this color. And I'm going to pull this to the inside, because that's where it's going to end up anyway. And we will now knit the 8 stitches that we just picked up. 1, 2, 3, 4, yarn tangle, sorry about that. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we have knit 8 stitches, and the pattern may instruct you to pick up stitches from the side. And I prefer to try to grab through a stitch and also twist the stitch to close up any holes that may form. So again, I insert my needle right into the middle of that stitch and then twist it and then knit into the back loop. And so we have 10 stitches on our first needle. Now we're going to do the same on the other side. And again, here's that stitch where, because we're doing color work, we carried the yarn. That's our 3-stitch float. So we're just going to be real careful with that one. And so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we picked up those 8 stitches, and again we are going to pick up right through the middle of the stitch and twist it and knit into those stitches on the side. And it's okay if you need to do some needle acrobatics here. Nobody says you have to hold your needle still. And so now we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 stitches there. And 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 stitches there. Now you can redistribute the stitches if you need to, and continue to follow the pattern instructions for what to do for the thumb. And so now we have finished our thumb. And the colorwork pattern is uninterrupted. And there you go.